Welcome to Infidelity Truths. Before we dive into today's gripping story, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more thrilling stories just for you. Let's begin.
I never imagined that shattering his trust would feel like carving out a piece of my own soul. But that's exactly what happened. When Noah walked away, he didn't just take my heart. He left me grappling with the fragments of who I thought I was. This is the story of how I betrayed the man I loved, how I lost myself in the process, and how we're still fighting to piece it all back together. When I first met Noah, it was like the universe finally aligned. He was different from anyone I'd ever known. Steady, kind, with a quiet strength that made me feel safe in a way I hadn't before. Unlike the chaotic relationships of my past, Noah didn't just hear me. He listened, absorbing every word like it mattered. Our connection sparked instantly, a rare kind of magic that felt like it could outshine any storm. I let myself believe this time would be different, that love could be enough to protect us from the mistakes I'd made before. I was wrong. For 3 years, Noah and I built a life that seemed perfect from the outside. Friends envied our easy chemistry, our shared rituals, lazy Sunday brunches, late-night drives with the windows down, and quiet evenings where we'd talk about everything from our dreams to the mundane details of our day. We had inside jokes that could send us into fits of laughter, and a shorthand that made even silence feel intimate. Noah was my anchor, my safe harbor in a world that often felt overwhelming. But beneath the surface of our idyllic life, I was hiding something. Something I told myself was small, insignificant, until it grew into a monster that tore us apart. He started with Lucas, an old coworker from a job I'd left years ago. We hadn't spoken in ages, but one day his name popped up in my inbox. A simple, "Hey, how's it going?" Innocent enough, or so I thought. We started chatting, catching up on old times, and I convinced myself it was just nostalgia, a harmless distraction from the monotony of routine. But the messages kept coming, each one a little warmer, a little more suggestive. I should have stopped it there, should have seen the warning signs, but there was a part of me, restless, insecure, that craved the attention. Point one night, after a heated argument with Noah over something trivial, I can't even remember what, I found myself scrolling through Lucas's messages instead of calling Noah to make things right. The words on the screen felt like an escape, a rush of excitement I hadn't realized I was missing. It was like a switch flipped inside me, awakening a reckless side I'd buried long ago. That night I made a choice that would haunt me, a choice that shattered the life we'd built. I agreed to meet Lucas for coffee, telling myself it was just to clear the air. But deep down I knew it wasn't that simple. The moment I saw him, the air crackled with something dangerous. We talked, laughed, and then in a moment of weakness we kissed. It was thrilling and wrong, a collision of guilt and desire that left me dizzy. I told myself it was a one-time mistake, that I could walk away and keep it buried. But one meeting turned into 2, then 3. I stopped answering Noah's calls some nights, ignored his texts, and let a chasm grow between us. I was living in 2 worlds. One with Noah, who trusted me completely, and another with Lucas, who fed my guilt and longing in equal measure. For Pollyanna, I justified it to myself. I told myself I was in control, that I could stop any time, that I'd confess to Noah and fix everything. But the deeper I sank into the lie, the harder it became to climb out. I was drowning in my own deceit, and the thrill of Lucas's attention was no match for the weight of my betrayal. Every time I looked at Noah, his warm smile, his unwavering trust, I felt like I was suffocating. The truth came crashing down one gray afternoon when Noah's sister, Mia, called me. Her voice was gentle but firm, asking if I was okay, if I needed to talk. My stomach twisted. When I pressed her, she hesitated before saying she'd heard rumors about me and Lucas. My heart stopped. The world I'd been juggling so carefully shattered in an instant. Noah knew. That evening, Noah came home early from work. I was in the kitchen, pretending everything was fine, when I saw his face. It wasn't anger in his eyes. It was pain, raw and unguarded, the kind that cuts deeper than any shouted words. "I trusted you," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "How could you do this to us?" I tried to explain, to apologize, but the words felt like ash in my mouth. How do you justify a betrayal like that? How do you mend something you've broken so carelessly? He left that night, the door closing softly behind him, a sound that echoed like a gunshot in my heart. I thought that was the end, that I'd lost him forever. But the silence that followed was worse. No calls, no texts, no arguments. Just a void where Noah used to be. Days bled into weeks, and I was drowning in regret. Every moment replayed in my mind. Every lie, every choice, every chance I had to stop and didn't. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. The apartment felt like a museum of our life together. His favorite coffee mug on the counter, his sweater still draped over the couch. I was haunted by the ghost of what we'd had. Then, out of the blue, a message from Noah. Meet me. 2 words, sharp and simple, that sent my heart racing with equal parts hope and dread. When I saw him at our favorite cafe, he looked different. Not colder, but guarded, like a man shielding himself from further pain. We sat across from each other, the weight of our history pressing down on us. For hours, we talked about the betrayal, the pain, the love that still lingered despite it all. I was devastated, he said, his eyes locked on the table. But the worst part wasn't what you did. It was realizing I didn't know you as well as I thought. His words cut deeper than any accusation could. He told me he needed time to heal, to figure out if he could ever trust me again. You still have my heart, he said, his voice breaking. And I think I still have yours. In that moment I saw the truth. Breaking his trust hadn't just hurt him. It had fractured me too. I'd lost not just Noah but the version of myself I'd been with him, someone who believed in love, in goodness, in us. The road to rebuilding trust was nothing like the movies. It was slow, messy, and riddled with doubt. I started therapy, desperate to unravel why I'd sabotaged something so precious. I discovered that my betrayal wasn't just about Lucas. It was about my own fears of vulnerability, my belief that I didn't deserve the kind of love Noah gave so freely. I'd spent years running from that fear, and it had led me to destroy the one thing I wanted most. Noah kept his distance at first, and I couldn't blame him. Our conversations were tentative, like walking on a frozen lake, each word testing the ice. But slowly we began to rebuild. Not the old relationship, but something new, something scarred but real. One evening, Noah showed up at my apartment unannounced, carrying a worn cardboard box. Inside were relics of our life together. Polaroids from our first road trip, a playlist we'd made for lazy mornings, a note I'd written him during a late-night talk about our future. I've been holding on to these, he said, his voice soft but steady, because even when I thought we were done, I couldn't let go of us. That moment cracked me open. It wasn't about erasing the past or pretending the betrayal never happened. It was about choosing to fight for something flawed but worth saving. I vowed to stop hiding, to face my fears head-on. I shared everything with Noah, the shame, the guilt, the love I'd never stopped feeling. It wasn't easy. There were days when the weight of my mistakes felt suffocating, when Noah's guarded glances reminded me of the trust I'd shattered. But there were also moments of grace, his hand brushing mine during a quiet walk, his laugh breaking through the tension, his willingness to keep showing up. One night, months into our tentative reconciliation, we sat on my couch watching an old movie we used to love. His hand found mine, and for the first time in what felt like forever, I felt a flicker of hope. I don't know if we're fixed, he whispered, his thumb tracing circles on my skin. But I know I want you in my life. I cried then, not out of sadness but because I finally understood. Love isn't a shield against pain, it's the courage to face it together. This story isn't about a fairy tale ending because life doesn't work that way. It's about the raw, messy reality of love and trust. I broke Noah's trust, and in doing so I broke my own heart. But Noah didn't just walk away with it. He held on to it, even when I didn't deserve it. And maybe that's what love is. Holding on through the wreckage, choosing to rebuild when it would be easier to let go. We're still navigating the scars, still learning to trust each other and ourselves. Some days the past creeps in whispering doubts. But every time Noah smiles at me, every time he stays when it would be simpler to leave, I'm reminded that broken things can mend. Not perfectly, but beautifully. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough.
Thank you, my amazing subscribers. Wow, what a journey. If you've made it to the end of this story, I just want to take a moment to say thank you. Your support means everything to me. Every time you watch, like, and comment, you're helping keep this channel alive and growing. And trust me, the best is yet to come. I see all your comments. I feel your love, and I truly appreciate each and every one of you. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think. Your thoughts and feedback inspire me to create even more powerful stories. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you never miss a new upload. More shocking twists, emotional journeys, and real life lessons are on the way, and I don't want you to miss a single one. Together, we're building an incredible community, and I'm so grateful to have you on this journey with me. Stay strong, stay inspired, and remember, sometimes life's greatest lessons come from the most unexpected moments. See you in the next story.